Alright, first of all, if you're here and you haven't seen part 1, go watch that video first. This video is going to cover everything that wasn't covered in that video. Anyway, in my previous video, I tried to beat Scribblenauts Unlimited without adjectives. In summary, the answer is no. The tutorial requires 2 adjectives to complete, and the rest of the game has more than enough stars to save Lily, which is the main goal of the game. That's still only 60 of the possible 106 starites in the game. Now, we pose a different question. How many adjectives does it take to complete Scribblenauts Unlimited? Going right from where we left off last time, we're starting this in the Abjad Dunes. We're starting off with one that's hard to pronounce, come on. Okay, howtopronounce.com says it's pronounced Abjad. Sure. Okay, so we're starting with Abjad Dunes. Even after correctly answering Chase's riddle, it took a long time for me to actually understand how the answer was a human. I mean, I understand now. The third leg is a walking cane. The starite was also quite annoying. I needed to create something that could teach the villagers how to fight. General makes sense, sure, but the number of other things I tried that didn't work is still very frustrating looking back at the footage. Trainer, warrior, fighter. Sword fighter isn't even a valid word somehow. Knight, police, wizard, military. At least one of those should have worked before I tried general. Then, as a final slap to the face, I needed to create something to infiltrate the enemy base. And the golem that I created as a solution to the first puzzle automatically solved this one too. What the f*** is this starite? At least I finally got it afterwards. Himmelcase Oasis had a shard with a very annoying solution. And just like Abjad Dunes, it's a shard coming from one of Maxwell's brothers. I need to help Milo find the Fountain of Youth. The solution is not to create a Fountain of Youth. The solution is to give him something to use to help him find it, like a compass. I mean, I probably shouldn't be too surprised, but I'm still going to complain about it because there's nothing else noteworthy to talk about in this level. Volcano doesn't have all too much to talk about. I guess I could talk about trying to contain the ooze because I did have quite a bit of trouble with this one, and I needed to reset over it more than once. I think the proper solutions all involve giving the man something to contain the ooze himself, because putting it in a cage didn't work, but giving the man a bag did. Other than that, really fun level, but nothing worth talking about in the context of the challenge. Ampersand Beach has a creative name, and that's pretty much all there is to say about it. I mean, I brought in Stunt to ride the hang glider because Stunt is cool. I also didn't notice until looking back that you could crush the kid's sandcastle and he would rebuild it. Love that detail, but that's about it. Tilda Reef has another one of my favorite names. Other than that, my light is too dim to attract prey. Help by applying an adjective to me. You're an anglerfish. How do you even know what an adjective is? You're not getting an adjective. You're getting a flashlight. Enjoy your dinner. The level's pretty short. There's not much to say about it. Storybook Keep has a very similar shard to the Fountain of Youth shard, because I apparently didn't think to try giving Mary a magnifying glass to find her little lamb until after I finished recording all the other areas. Other than that, let's talk about the Hansel and Gretel starite. I need to make Hansel taste gross, but I don't know how to do that without using adjectives. I'll be back to this one, of course, but I don't have any good solutions right now. Dot the Island. Once again, one of the best names in the game, but unlike Ampersand Beach, I couldn't come up with anything else to say about it, so we're moving on. Alliteration Abyss has nothing too noteworthy in the context of the challenge. It has quite a few moments where I was stupid, way more moments than in all the other levels, but the challenge was still completely intact from this level. Kana Craters was the level where I finally learned that jetpacks are faster than wings. All the shards are fine, but then my game crashed during the black hole starite and I had to do it a second time. Why must you do this to me? This level is easy, but you make me redo a starite by crashing my game? Why? Palindromeda. After all of the praise I've given to the other levels' names, this is my #1 favorite. And yet, it's a level that I had to leave unfinished. The baby wants a superpower. Things like jetpack or wings didn't work. The rest of the level is easy, but this feels like a shard I should have been able to get. On to the final level of the game, Syntax Station. It's easy. Now that we've covered every main level, it's now time to talk about the bonus shards. Most of them have very easy solutions. And by easy, I mean the internet has solutions to them. The only difficult ones that I was able to get were ones I already had a solution to. In particular, there are 4 shards that require giving life to different objects. My solution was to go back to Grave Manor, take each of those objects, and put them in the coffin to bring them to life. Skipping over all the bonus shards that had those easy solutions to them, let's now go over everything I couldn't figure out. There were 14 bonus shards, 3 shards within levels, and 2 starites. Now, before resorting to using adjectives, I decided there was one last thing to do before resorting to adjectives. I went on Reddit and made a post on r/Scribblenauts to see if anyone had any ideas. Almost immediately, someone gave an idea for Hansel and Gretel's Day Out, the Storybook Keep starite. They said to give Hansel a bone. It actually worked. The rest of the starite is pretty easy, and we can check that one off the list. I also got a comment on the first part of the video that could prove helpful for the 2 shards in the starite I couldn't solve in that episode. In the starite Unsunken City, I tried to make Maxwell mad by summoning the Horseman War. It normally would make Maxwell angry, but it didn't work during the starite for some reason. There might be some kind of hard coding that prevents it for some reason, but I don't know the actual reason. Regardless, the solution didn't work. What did work was the idea I came up with immediately afterwards. The shard Buffalo Wings was a weird one that I couldn't get to work in part 1. This is because after killing the buffalo and making it explode into food, one of the tribesmen didn't try to eat the food. I thought to try fixing this by summoning a different horseman, Famine, and it did actually give me the shard. That's one more that I had previously abandoned. That same comment suggested using Plague to make things dirty. I tried that with the Mummy shard from last time, but it didn't work. Worth a shot, though. I then checked back on my Reddit post a few days later, and the same person as before suggested going to Palindromeda and giving the baby uranium. I did not have confidence in the suggestion, but it was worth trying out. It actually worked. I did not expect that. I didn't receive any other suggestions past that, so I think it's finally time to use some adjectives. You may recall from last video that I added a bonus challenge trying to limit the number of unique adjectives I used. For example, both adjectives from the first part were big. With that in mind, I tried to see if big would work for any of the other shards. Going through the list of remaining shards one last time, there were 2 that still seemed possible. The first was too hot to touch. I just needed to pick up something hot with oven mitts. And thankfully, I remembered a starite we just completed that had something hot to pick up. Heading back to Hansel and Gretel's Day Out, I needed to pick up a hot key to save Hansel. I initially used rain to make the key not hot, but the second time around, I brought out oven mitts, picked up the key, and the shard was mine. The other one I saw that I thought I could do was War and Peace. I needed to take the Horseman War once again and give him a sign of peace. At first, the answer the internet gave me was white flag, but instead, a quick Google search for signs of peace led me to olive branch, which, when given to war, gives me the shard. And now, after going through all of them, I didn't see anything that I thought big would work with, so it's time to move on to the second adjective. Immediately, the adjective that stuck out to me was dirty, which easily gave me wash, rinse, dry, laundry day, and it needs to match our curtains, the Mummy shard. I also tried to see if it would give me not so boring barn, but it unfortunately didn't. But then I made a realization. I created a crayon, and it didn't make the barn red. It made it a light blue, or azure. I just assumed every coloring item was red, but I was wrong. Unfortunately, I wasn't recording at the moment I got the shard, and I wasn't quick enough to quit the game, so you're just gonna have to take my word on this one. I then also took a look at Beauty and the Beast mode, and thought that must be possible. I had to create a lycanthropic beauty queen and put her under a full moon. I thought that it would work to get a werewolf to attack her, but I dismissed this one before because I couldn't get the werewolf to attack her. I decided to come back to it, and I did get the werewolf to attack her finally after enough convincing. One full moon later, and boom, one more shard. And with that, I finally ran out of ideas. Well, I still had one idea, and it might be one that you've actually thought of. This guy. This is Maxwell, or rather, a doppelganger of Maxwell. His whole gimmick is he also has Maxwell's notebook, and will create random objects using that notebook. Theoretically, one of the completely random objects he spawns could be exactly what we need to solve the entire rest of the game. But I have one big problem with this solution. It's tedious, and I want to get this video out. I don't plan on relying on luck to complete a challenge, especially if the odds are stacked this high against us. Besides, it kinda defeats the spirit of the challenge. So now that I've actually run out of ideas, let's finally go over all the rest of the adjectives I used. Ding-a-wing. I needed a wingless bird, then I rang a bell to give his wings back. Use your inside roar. I had to make a lion quiet. Say what? I had to give a hearing aid to a guy that was deaf. Off-key works for me. I had to give someone who couldn't sing the auto-tuned adjective. I didn't know if a normal person would have worked, so I just used the same deaf guy as before. Bang bang. Silver hammer. Gold medalist. The medal was already gold, why must I give it the adjective gold? Waggle dance. I gave Maxwell a bee costume and forced him to dance. What did I do? I'll tell you what I did. I made someone scribble phobic. And finally, Unsunken City, the Starite. I made Maxwell mad to fit in with the mad scientist, and the rest of the level didn't even require the notebook. And now, when tallying up the totals, it comes out to 14 total adjectives and 11 unique adjectives. Honestly, not bad. I expected way worse. If you could think of any ways to lower either number, do let me know. I did get kinda lazy with trying to come up with unique adjectives, so I'm sure you can come up with some things for that. Also, give me suggestions for what my next challenge run should be. Special thanks to TalkingCow99, who gave me the suggestions on my Reddit post, and Ellie Virgo, who gave me the suggestions on the previous video. Also, thank you to all of the people who have left really positive comments on my last 3 videos. It really does mean a lot. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in whatever I end up doing next.